Assalamu alaikum, dear friends and students. Today I am back with the session of geography for class ninth, chapter number 3, drainage. Before starting our session, YouTube channel Al Habib GPMS Gund Jahangir, subscribe our channel and don't forget to click on the bell icon so to receive notification in future when we upload any video. Going to our session. In this session, we will learn drainage, drainage patterns, Himalayan rivers, peninsular rivers, lakes and its benefits, role of rivers in the economy, and river pollution. Let us start with the drainage and the drainage basin. Drainage. The river system of an area is called a drainage. The area drained by a single river system is called the drainage basin. Drainage patterns. Depending on the slope of land, underlying rock structure, and climate of an area, the streams in a drainage basin form certain patterns. Different types of drainage patterns are as follows. Number one, dendritic drainage pattern. When the river channel flows, the slope of the terrain, it develops dendritic pattern. The stream and its tributaries resemble the branches of a tree, hence it is called dendritic pattern. Number second, trellis drainage pattern. When a river is joined by its tributaries at almost right angles, it develops a trellis pattern. Trellis pattern develops where hard and soft rocks exist parallel to each other. Rectangular drainage pattern. When rocks are strongly joined, then a rectangular pattern develops. Radial drainage pattern. When the streams flow in different directions from a central peak or dome-like structure, a radial pattern is developed. It's important to note that a combination of different patterns may develop in the same drainage basin. The drainage system in India can be divided into two major groups, that is, the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial, that is, they have water throughout the year. A river, along with its tributaries, form a river system. Going towards the Himalayan rivers, the first one is the Indus River system. The river Indus originates in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar. It enters India in the Ladakh district of Jammu and Kashmir. Jaskar, Nubra, Shyok, and Hunza are the main tributaries which join the Indus in Kashmir region. After flowing through Baltistan and Gilgit, the Indus emerges from the mountains at Attock. Satluj, Beas, Ravi, Chenab and Jhelum join together and enter the Indus near Mithankot in Pakistan. After that, the Indus flow southwards and finally reaches the Arabian Sea east of Karachi. Indus is 2,900 km long. The Indus plain has a very gentle slope. A little over one-third of the Indus basin is located in India, in the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab. The rest of the portion is in Pakistan. The Ganga river system. The headwaters of Ganga are called Bhagirathi. It is fed by the Gangotri Glacier. It is joined by Laknanda at Devprayag in Uttarakhand. Ganga emerges from the mountains on to the plains at Hardwar. Yamuna, Ghagra, Ghandak and Kosi are the major tributaries of Ganga. Yamuna originates from the Yamunotri glacier in the Himalayas. It meets Ganga at Allahabad. Ghagra, Ghandak and Kosi rise in the Nepal Himalaya. Chambal, Betwa and Son are the major tributaries which come from the peninsular uplands. After taking waters from various tributaries, Ganga flows towards east till Fraka, West Bengal. The river bifurcates at Fraka. The Bhagirathi Hooghly, a distributary, flows towards south to the Bay of Bengal. The main stream flows southwards into Bangladesh, where it is joined by the Brahmaputra. It is known as Magan further downstream. Finally, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra flow into the Bay of Bengal, forming the Sundarban Delta. The total length of Ganga is 2500 km. The Brahmaputra river system. The Brahmaputra rises in Tibet east of Mansarovar Lake. It is a little longer than that Indus. Most of the course of the Brahmaputra lies outside India. It flows eastwards parallel to the Himalayas. After reaching Namcha Badwa, it enters India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. It is known as Dihang in this region. It is joined by Dibang, Lohit, Kanula and many other tributaries and finally forms the Brahmaputra in Assam. Unlike other North Indian rivers, the Brahmaputra gets huge deposits of silt on its bed. This results in a rising of the river bed. It also shifts its channel frequently. Now going towards the peninsular rivers. Most of the peninsular rivers are seasonal because they depend on rainfall for water. These rivers have shorter and shallower courses compared to the Himalayan rivers. Most of the major rivers of the peninsula flow eastwards and drain into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers make deltas at their mouths. The Narmada and Tapi are the only long rivers which flow westwards and make estuaries. The drainage basins of the peninsular rivers are smaller in size. Number 1. The Narmada Basin. The Narmada rises in the Amarkantak Hills in the Madhya Pradesh. The Narmada Basin covers part of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. All the tributaries of the Narmada are very short. Most of the tributaries join the Narmada at right angles. Second, the Tapi Basin. The Tapi rises in the Satpura Ranges in Bitul district of Madhya Pradesh. The basin of Tapi covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. After that, Godavari Basin. This is the longest peninsular river. Its drainage basin is also the largest among the peninsular river basins. The Godavari is about 1500 km long. It originates from the slopes of the Western Ghats in Nasik district of Maharashtra and drains into the Bay of Bengal. The Godavari basin covers parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. Purna, Wardha, Pranhita, Manjra, Vaiganga and Penganga are the main tributaries of Godavari. The Mahanadi Basin origin this river originates in the highlands of Chhattisgarh and drains into the Bay of Bengal. It is about 860 km long. The Mahanadi basin covers Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. Then comes the Krishna basin. The Krishna originates near Mahabaleshwar and drains into the Bay of Bengal. It is about 1400 km long. Tungabhadra, Koyana, Ghatprabha, Musi, and Bhima are some of its tributaries. The Krishna basin covers Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. And the last one, the Kaveri basin. The Kaveri originates in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats and drains into the Bay of Bengal. It's about 760 km long. Amravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, and Kabini are its main tributaries. The Kaveri basin covers Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Now going towards the lakes. A large water body which is surrounded by land is called a lake. Most of the lakes are permanent, while some contain water only during the rainy season. Lakes are formed by the action of glaciers and ice sheets, or by winds, or river action, and by human activities. Oxbow Lake, a lake formed when a meandering river is cut off from the mainstream. This shape, the shape of this lake resembles an oxbow. Lagoon. When the lake is formed by spits and bars in coastal areas, it is called a lagoon. Chilika Lake, Pulicat Lake, Koleru Lake, etc. are examples of lagoon. Glacial Lake. A lake formed by melting of glacier is called a glacial lake. Most of the lakes in the Himalayan region are glacial lakes. Vular Lake, that is in Jammu and Kashmir, is the largest freshwater lake in India. It was formed by tectonic activity. Going towards the benefits of a lake is a lake helps us in preventing flood by regulating the flow of a river. During dry seasons, a lake helps us to maintain and even flow of the river. Lakes can also be used for generating hydel power. Role of rivers in the economy. Rivers have been the center of human civilization since ancient times. Even today, many big cities are situated on the bank of a river. River water is used for irrigation, navigation, hydroelectricity, fisheries, etc. And at last, describing the river pollution. The growing domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural demand for water from rivers naturally affects the quality of water. As a result, more and more water is being drained out of the rivers, reducing their volume. On the other hand, a heavy load of untreated sewage and industrial effluents are emptied into the rivers. This affects not only the quality of water but also the self-cleansing capacity of the river. And this was all the session for today for class 9th, chapter number 3, drainage. Thank you for watching this session of geography. This session was prepared and designed by Engineer Javed Hura, Smart Class Trainer for Al Habib GPMS Gund Jahangir and Welcome Coaching Classes Gund Jahangir. Thank you for watching this session.